Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles. This is episode number 94. I am Articulate T, and with me, as always, I have Renji Vox being played by the lad.
As me. Good evening.
I have Kai Kuana being played by Avrdal.
Hello.
I have Zayden Shari being played by RoboPirate.
Hello.
And I have Max being played by Keistruth.
Hi.
So, what happened last time, folks?
Last time, after defeating the Queen Goma, we did us some investigating, looking for clues, figuring out what the Goma used to be, gathering some samples or things to kind of get it identified by the doctor, and then we went on our way to go rest up at the Great Deku Tree. There was a bit of a serious moment between the Deku Tree and Zayden, where the Deku Tree was uh, coming in and checking in on his friend, and then Renji was like, "Hey, do do you do like packs?" And the Harvester was like, "Bruh, really? Right in front of my salad?" Um,
To be fair, it's a shit salad.
Yeah, it's a very bad salad. He should be ashamed
It's
of himself.
yeah. I know. I know what's in there. I put it in there.
It's Gomer in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that led to a conversation, and then the Deku Tree said, "Well, if you want to do this, go ahead and when you're ready, sleep on it, think about it, and when you're ready, just ask Zayden and to bring you back here, and we'll talk." Zayden then went and shared stories with the Kokiri, and Renji and Kai had, I wouldn't say a heart to heart in regards to it, but definitely Kai tried to impart some form of a Goron wisdom of a kind to Renji, since he seemed to be struggling with his identity and who he was in relation to his abilities. We
Bit
rested.
of a rocky start.
Yeah, something like that. We rested. We then left the Lost Woods and went over towards the Hylia settlement, and then noticed that they sent aid in two waves, a quick wave to get down and help as fast as possible, and probably an ancillary wave coming forward with more equipment and things like that. Which, when Kai arrived, Kai instantly went to work helping the people there, which I believe the rest of the party did.
Also, before that, Max learned how to hug people.
That's right, Max did learn how to hug people. I didn't get to that point in my re-listen where Max and Mara, mostly Mara, having had a bit of a emotional heart-to-heart as well. Where
Yeah,
Mara,
Max still getting the hang of the whole emotions that aren't pure rage thing.
yeah,
And gaining 8 affinity points in the process.
Showing up.
Wait, that's a different game. Never mind.
but yeah, it was Mara. If I recall correctly, it was Mara expressing her insecurities and Max listening, and then uh, offering a comforting scaled shoulder to hug onto.
I mean, the scales are very visible right now. He's still wearing that shirt from the Goron town, where
Mhm.
it's too big for him.
Mm.
He did his best.
Okay.
He hasn't had a chance to get new clothes yet.
So, we rejoin our heroes just as some or all are setting about helping with the aid that is required, or at least the immediate triage of some of the people within the Hylia settlement. I suppose, just for clarification, who is helping and what are they doing?
Kai is
I-
helping by moving supplies, and I guess he's kind of assisting where he can. So like he'll drop off a box, be like, "Anybody need help over here?" No, cool, good. Go grab another box, go over to the next one. And someone's like, "Actually, could I get some new bandages?" And then he'll kind of open his pouch and pass over one of the bandages, type of thing, and
Okay.
so on and so forth.
Nice.
I think Renji will be helping. Possibly just starting out by like, is there anything I can do? And probably going to be doing the first thing that someone says.
Okay. Right. Max, Dyden?
Zidon will do medicine. Zidon has a lot of medicine skill.
Okay.
Yeah, so directly treating.
Okay. And Max?
Max doesn't know what to do,
If Max and
but we'll
Renji,
probably just follow Kai around.
Hmm.
Because, like, you're helping lift things, I can do that.
Okay.
there are some points where there's probably because some of the Goma have tried to bite people or scratch at people or stuff like that. Especially if there's other used bandages, Kaya will go to Max because Max I know has used prestidigitation, and go, "Hey, that magic thing that you used to clean things, could you go ahead and clean these and then soak them in some water, and then we can kind of do that, and I'll walk Max through some of the basic triage stuff."
Okay.
You can do that.
That's fine. Okay, if that is the case, then we'll proceed as follows. Let's start with Zidon. So you said that you're doing medicine-y things, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think what will happen is Dr. Marshall will, because he's acquainted with you enough to know that you are a spellcaster of some sort, and has probably witnessed you because he knows you have like good berries and everything like that. So he'll probably try and direct you to people who kind of need like more long-term / aftercare, as opposed to anyone who needs immediate triage. So he'll point you to the direction of people who, like, he would say, like, I need a couple of the medics to be a bit more on hand for more emergency triage. If you can just relieve them of their post for the moment to make sure that they remain stable and fed and just comfortable as possible. Call us if there's anything immediate, and he'll like direct you to people that need that sort of thing, so that he has more hands on deck for emergency stuff.
I mean, I have +10 medicine. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I know. I was going to get you to roll that now.
Okay. Well. 14.
Yeah.
Good old 4.
So, it's perhaps because Goma infestation is, when depending on how much it's taken root, becomes much harder to deal with in regards to medical stuff, but it's not too difficult to kind of get into the swing of things. After like you get into a room where a patient is being treated, one or two of the medics on hand will just kind of give you a quick rundown of their symptoms and everything, and will leave you to it as they charge out to go take care of a more urgent situation. And you sit down and using your expertise in both knowing what the Goma is as well as your own medical training, you are able to kind of keep them comfortable and calm. And there are a couple of bumps here and there, but it's easy to take care of for the most part. And while you are tending to that, we will go to Renji. You said that you were... Remind me what it is that you were doing, sorry?
Pretty much just asking where I am needed.
Okay.
And like, regarding my skills, I would be able to help keep things orderly and reassure people that we are here to help, and make sure that the other help isn't lambasted by people.
That's fair. So while you're off, when you're off to do that, Sophitia kind of just, while she's busy handing out supplies and stuff, will hand you a box and will say, will basically employ you to be a runner of sorts. She'll say, I know you're pretty quick, I know you're very fast, and I know that you're capable of keeping a situation under control when the situation needs it. So I need you to take these, I need you to go to that house, and that house, and make sure the people in there have the supplies that they need, and just keep moving as best you can. If someone calls for you, just go on over, speak to them, ask what they need, come back here if you need a refill, okay?
Oh, yes, okay. A little bit much, but Renji can try and see what he can do. Yeah.
Okay. Give me let's see. Give me an athletics check.
What? That's the worst thing. The
You'll be
absolute worst
fine.
thing.
You've got this. It's okay.
I have a strength of 11. I have nothing in athletics, and I roll a 2.
Okay.
This is why I'm like,
I can't believe you've done this to him.
yeah. Employ me somewhere where I can, persuade people not to do stuff. I have a plus 13 there.
Perhaps, but this is an emergency room sort of situation.
I'm nimble. I'm not fast.
That's okay. Like with your natural acrobatic nature and everything means that you're not going to fall flat on your face while you're trying to move stuff around. It's just maybe during the course of say as you're delivering supplies, you get called by 3 separate households for different things, and while you're rushing to try and get stuff sorted, you feel a little bit winded. But
can I try and talk to them and say, if there's anything urgent, I do want to get that as fast as possible, but if there is non-urgent care that I can give to you, please allow me a little bit of time so that I can make sure that everyone gets the help and the care that they need, and try to persuade them to give me some space.
Yeah, that's fine. Give me a persuasion check then.
See, that's a 17.
That's
so
fine.
I rolled 2 higher.
So, in this sort of situation, as you're rushing between people, it can get a little bit stressful, but you kind of just center yourself, you keep a calm mind, and you're able to speak to some of the medics that are there just to kind of help communicate what's needed in other areas. And this then transitions to something more of a coordinating aspect, where you are able to kind of provide clear, concise instruction of where other people need to go. So as you kind of as you move from group to group and hand out these supplies, you're able to stop a moment and say, okay, so that house over there has this, that, and this, they need this and that and this, and you just kind of convey that information, and it speeds up the process a lot more as you're able to act as that communication sort of aspect.
I think the fact that I was told to like be a runner and do the basically anything, that caused Renji some anxiety. But being able to switch it around and make it so that I can bring more constructive order and delegation, that is where Renji feels more at home, feels more comfortable.
Yeah, that's fine. And as you go into that, and Sophia and Dr. Marshall see you do that, they're kind of like, okay, you're getting in the swing of things, it is actively making things better, we'll let you go with that. Because they're not going to stop you and say, no, we told you to do this. They're actively going to make whatever makes the situation better, they'll take.
Occasionally there's I'm with reorganizing things and making sure that I'm starting to make lists of households that have been given supplies. You can occasionally see one of my mage hand move files, lists, and that sort of thing. I'm really focusing all of my attention on this.
Yeah. Okay. And then with Kai and Max, Kai, your medical experience and your strength, I think you were saying you were going to try and focus more on like the urgent things as well as possibly the more bitey of the patients. Kai?
Sorry.
That's okay.
One more time. My brain spaced there for a second.
That's all right. So you were taking Max with you to go and see to some of the more urgent patients, and like you would hold down the more aggressive ones in case they started to try and lash out and things.
Absolutely, and also moving like maybe some of the bigger stuff since they probably are working on that. But I'm a big old Goron, and these are Hylians, so. But definitely, like if somebody goes, "Hey, we need help with this," it's like, "All right, yeah, I got that, no problem."
Okay. So if that's the case, give me athletics and give me an athletics with advantage because you've got Max on hand to help you with this.
Help.
Yay! 20.
Nice.
Soft.
So with the 20, you are able to, you're able to move a heaping pile of supplies in very short order. And we'll also use that roll to translate to things where if you are holding down patients, they don't pose any kind of threat. They are, as I said, they are Hylians mostly, and they're also very sick Hylians. So it's just kind of, not only was this already easy, it's just you know how to restrain a patient in the same way that you know how to restrain someone in combat. You're able to hold them down in order to minimize the threat to yourself and the people around you. And with your clear instruction, Max is able to then provide some of the aid in moving some small supplies around in order to tend to the wounds of these individuals as well. And all in all, everything seems...
Out of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
I know Hikan sent spellcasters, because like that was something that was talked about. Are there spell components in some of the boxes, like, say, diamond dust worth a certain amount?
There doesn't appear to be diamond dust, or anything that could provide with the process of resurrection, so to speak, or like...
Oh, I was looking for a greater restoration, because that's diamond dust.
Mostly because this had to be moved quite quickly, and overland and off the road as well, as per previous instruction. They wanted to make sure that if they were carrying something like diamond dust, it would be with the slower but significantly more secure convoy. So there are a couple of spell components here, and there are one or two spellcasters within the medic team that was sent, but they're very kind of... They fill the same kind of role that you do on the battlefield. They are there to apply quick triage, and that's it mostly. They're there to patch wounds and see to the immediate problem, rather than anything else.
Fair enough. Figured I'd ask.
That's okay. But yes, all in all, this goes on for roughly a few hours. Just keeping it does slow down at a certain point as everything kind of begins to simmer out. Patients kind of begin to move to the part where they've had all the treatment they can have. It just requires waiting at this point. Mara, for her efforts in this, sequesters herself to the side. Like she takes up a table at the local inn in order to begin making some basic healing drafts and potions at rapid fire, but by the time those couple of hours are up, she's effectively run out of components herself to make more potions. But she makes like basic sort of like a simple smelling salt equivalent or a basic anesthetic sort of thing, just to add to the supply as best as possible. But eventually, what was the early to mid morning becomes the early afternoon, and things begin to settle down a bit. Most of the medics that have gone between houses are just like stationed themselves outside of some of the infected individuals' houses and are just relaxing a little bit, checking in every so often just to make sure if they need anything, come back out, just stop and take in deep breaths, enjoy a nice cool drink, and eventually Dr. Marshall and Sophitia come over to all of you, and Dr. Marshall says, "Well, it's a good thing you all arrived when you did. That was a bit touch and go, admittedly, but you all did a great amount of work. Thank you, especially for what Zelda tells me that you've done. You have taken care of the core of the problem, I suppose."
So every time the name Zelda is mentioned, there's just like a quick try not to roll my eyes, try not to roll my eyes. But with his like thanks for what we've been doing, Renji's just standing, probably standing around for a bit. It is what we are here to do, and if there is some relief that we are able to give these people, then it is worth it. Keep in mind, I have a Sheikah cloak of protection that is also a cloak of billowing, so whoosh.
So you kind of standing there, you're giving this spiel, like the clouds above break on a somewhat overcast day, and the god rays come down with the cloak of billowing edge. You're giving it's like, it's just what we do. We do this for the good of others. It's just, oh, that's great. I love it.
Yeah, it just seems to keep happening.
Oh dear.
I didn't realize that the cloak of billowing also had the power to summon god rays. So I'm
Only
I'm
at
very happy with this upgrade.
only at dramatically appropriate moments.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I might make
for
it.
non-dramatically appropriate moments, I will have to roll.
You have no control over the god rays.
You'll have to use prestidigitation, and it's not quite the same.
It's not quite the same.
Thaumaturgy is the one you need.
I might have to.
No, well, can I with prestidigitation instead of the god rays? Can I do like shoujo vision, where it's like roses appearing in the background?
Yes, go on. That's because that's funny.
You can make a 5-foot cube of roses.
Yeah.
Yay.
And
blue.
There's just a moment where it's like there's a pause, and Sophitia's like, "Okay, so thank you very much for your assistance. From what some of the other medics have told me, that the full convoy with the medicine should be on almost here within the next couple of hours or so. But I believe unless true tragedy strikes, there will not be much we need to worry about here. Yes. And I think I can't remember if you said that you brought back a sample of some kind?
Brought back a bunch.
Oh, we Oh, in everything that happened, we forgot to give that. Yes, and I think Renji is going to bring out all the
Sidon had
samples that
them.
we've. Oh, Sidon had those samples. Sorry,
I've been all hand to Renji.
and I'm going to be making sure that they are given in orderly fashion to the doctor.
Okay. Dr. Marshall will kind of look over them and say, "Oh, it is certainly a interesting specimen. Hopefully, this will push us even closer to a potential vaccine for the thing. I believe I can make a stop back off at the research station, see if my colleague is capable of having a look, and I will also be taking whatever little samples I can to do my own research. After all, while this might not be as dire, there are still a few within Mazro who are ill, and hopefully they will actually listen to me when I try and help them."
Let's see. Yes, Mazro does seem to be a little bit of an issue.
I seem to be a little bit out of the loop. Is there anything I can... What's happening with Mazro?
By the way, have we discussed the talking head?
Max is just going to say there's a death cult there.
Oh. I can see why you need to have the supplies moved around it as opposed to through it. Very well.
Correct. Another point there is
Max doesn't know a subtle way of saying also they're the ones that maybe killed your dad
it was going to.
in front of Dr. Marshall, so he's just not going to say anything.
I was going to bring up that the cult had a dealings in Hyrule Castle town with the attack on Minister Simeon. Yes, Simeon. And later on, the attack on the royal family. And I will try and bring this up as delicately as possible.
Ordinarily, I would ask for a roll, but your passive persuasion is 23, so I don't think you need it.
Thank you. I am fluent in court speak.
That's fair. So Sophitia kind of just folds her arms and paces back and forth a bit, and as you kind of explain this, and she says, like, because she's still in a very public area, she can't simply talk candid about it. She will simply say, well, I suppose that would explain a lot. I've taken in bits and pieces out of context from the conversations that have been transpiring around here. I know my brother is now king. Though whether he is up for the task is a different matter.
Hey, Dr. March, you want to go have a conversation somewhere else?
Yeah, when Zelda.
Yeah, she would.
mentions
Yeah, that's a
that
good point.
her
She wouldn't
brother-
actually say my brother is king. So she would say, well, I know Marius is king now. Admittedly, I have been living a little bit under a rock. Though she will kind of turn to Dr. Marsh and says, I believe I need to speak with our companions a little privately, if that's okay. If you need to head back to the research station, that's more than welcome. I can direct anything if anything happens here. And I also have the... Did your group have a name, by the way? I'm not sure if I've caught it.
We are the Storm's Eye.
Okay. I have the Storm's Eye here in the event that anything dangerous transpires. Dr. Marshall will kind of nod slowly. Well, I shall make my way back to the research station then. In the meantime, thank you for your assistance, and should our paths cross again, I would be most glad of it. He gives a nod, and he
I will
makes his
give a
way.
curt nod in return, like probably like a short, quick bow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just kind of makes his way over to where like most of the supplies have been. He takes what is presumably his traveling pack, and he will head north along the shore of the of Lake Hyrule to get back to the research station. And as he gets out of earshot, Sophitia turns to all of you and says, "Right, so I would like it very much if you could apprise me of the brief details of what has happened thus far. I only know bits and pieces, and I would be glad of it. I did promise to at least potentially consider heading back to the castle after the situation has been dealt with, and to be truthful, it does look like it has been rather definitively dealt with, at least for now."
Well, how much time do you have for this?
I would prefer it if there is a part of me that would like to remain here, at least until the rest of the convoy is here. I can then pass off my duties to the lead medic that arrives with that convoy, and I will be free after that. But if we need to depart any sooner, I understand. It is a rather turbulent time that we have found ourselves in these past few months.
That is indeed true. Well, I think Renji is going to be giving a Cliff's Note version of events.
How Cliff Notesy.
He doesn't want to keep everyone here for more than half an hour.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair.
Kai will ask if it'll make it easier if you want him to step away. Because he knows that this is big secret stuff. He doesn't ask just Renzi, he asks the group as a whole type of thing.
Yeah. But that's up to me.
I'm trying to think if Max knows exactly how secret this is supposed to be.
Mara, who has been tasked with documenting it, will simply say that while there are certain bits and pieces that need to be kept secret, there is a lot of stuff that has happened that is difficult to keep secret. Like,
Then Max will simply say, "Wait, you're the princess. You can tell him that he's allowed."
yeah, Sophitia will kind of consider it and say, "I believe that tactically, that if this is meant to be covert, then I believe tactically opening the door to one or two individuals would be a good idea, just in case we need some more allies further afield. So please stay if it would make things easier. At least it will give you full context in case anything happens in the future."
Max is
Sounds
kind of
good.
wearing an expression where he's like, "I didn't actually know if you were allowed to tell him that it was okay, but I'm glad I was right."
She does kind of like outrank the lot of you
Yeah.
in the social
Oh,
circle.
yeah. Absolutely.
Alright.
Yeah.
I mean, given that we are a task force specifically put in place to deal with matters of the royal family by order of the Shika Council, so... Yeah.
My one question is, within the Cliff Notes version of this, is considering the person you're talking to, do you tell Sophitia that her kidnapper is currently being held at Hyrule Castle?
I was going to bring that up after, because Max has a thing about that.
Yeah. I think when we get to discussing matters dealing with the tower,
Max
kind
will
of-
Max will cut in
okay, yep.
and say, Would you hold someone responsible for something they had no control over?
She takes a while to think on that. Not necessarily because she's...
If, say, they weren't in their right mind at the time because of influences beyond their control.
She takes a moment to think on that. It's while she's doing her best to be as adult and level-headed as possible, considering the situation, it's clear that it's not exactly terribly her strong suit. She is still 14, so she's like, it's been a lot. But after a moment, she says, I wouldn't, I don't think. It feels like a situation that would be far too complicated to dismiss out of hand. I would at least like to potentially hear the reasons for what might have occurred, perchance.
And then Max will explain what happened at the tower in full detail, including the lobotomy thing. And the fact that he is also a product of that.
Ah. Okay.
Which is why he would look remarkably familiar to her.
Yeah.
I believe Sophitia has Sophitia seen Max before the kidnapping?
Maybe in
If she was
passing.
if she was at the ball that the kidnapping
I doubt
had.
she'd remember.
Yeah, she only sees she'd only see the resemblance when you bring it up.
Also, he's been wearing the hood this whole time, so...
Yeah.
That is fair.
So she would kind of nod intently and think more about it and say, if he was not in control of himself, or at least not in a state where he was aware of the... I should say, yes, I will not be... I will not lie and say that I won't have some level of difficulty with it, but I am not capable of holding much against such an individual if he was truly not within his right mind. So, if that is the situation as it is, then I can understand why he is there.
Reason why we bring this up as well.
What happens to him isn't up to us, but should be fair, right?
It should.
And while what his fate may be is not up to us, we did take steps to make sure that there wouldn't be a direct trial and execution in the furor of like him arriving at Hyrule Castle town and people seeing or recognizing him. This is, if that is against your wishes, I will personally take full responsibility.
No, it is the right thing to do, I believe. And I believe that the potential chaos that might have come through if you were to simply brazenly walk in with him, even if he was in chains, that comes from my father's protector, would it not?
Possibly, yes.
He's locked
Savitia.
himself in his house right now.
Savitia nods a bit and says, I had only managed to gain a few stories from Nihilus whenever he was trying his best to make a conversation, but I have seen it with my own eyes. Zelish Maya is... he has a lot to give in regards to a person's connection. The man, from what I was been told, is 200 years of age. but has never had a son himself or any other form of specific family. But he saw my father as his son. He has been the protector of Alexander Hyrule since his birth, and it has been... I imagine that for someone who has known them for half of their life, almost, losing them in such a chaotic fashion must really damage them in some way. So it is quite clear that he would not be in his right mind should that information come to light. Which only brings me to the next question. I know that there is a need to see to my safety after all of this. I know that you may have a desire to send me back to the castle, but considering everything that we know at this point in time, and everything that can transpire, after all, from what I can tell from your story, my father's murderer is still on the loose. One of the members of the High Court of Hyrule has revealed themselves a traitor and has gone to the still rebelling villages within the kingdom. Do you think it is wise for me to return to the castle publicly at this point? What would you do?
I understand your reasons for wishing to remain here. Currently, as far as I can tell, unless you've mentioned anything to others, the only people that know that you are here are yourself and us, with Dr. Marshall and his colleagues none the wiser as it stands. For now, you are, I would say, not in the safest position that one can be, given the state of the world, given the state of the country as it is. However, bringing you to Hyrule Castle will, in certain ways, make you safer, as there will be no danger of random passing bandits, or the, for instance, yes, or the encroaching dangers of the Sovereign Hand. However, it may open up, especially when you publicly return, it might open up a possibility of more direct attacks. That said, knowing that you are alive and having you close would, I believe, be a great boon to your brother.
I'm not sure about being king, and I can tell he's struggling.
Well, then, just for a definitive answer, unless you have deemed it given already, as authority under the authority as Princess Sophitia Grace Hyrule, with my current designated protector indisposed, I give you the Storm's Eye, the decision-making power in this. I definitively need a yes or no. Do I return to the castle?
Renji's a little bit taken aback by this.
Max says, could you sneak back in?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be public.
Sneaking back in is not terribly difficult. There are certain secret passages, unless there is a more direct way to get
right
back
now,
through
the
them.
only person who really needs you back is your brother, right?
Yes, I believe Marius and Rufus both would like to see me again. Doubt. Though I'm not so certain about Rufus. We haven't exactly been kind to him when he was growing up.
So if we sneak you back in, Have to make
And
sure no one outside knows that you're back for a while. Until we sort out some other stuff, like the sovereign hand or whatever.
or perhaps I don't know what that part of the future looks like, but we could always go forward and take a look at finding the remnants of the people that are responsible for capturing you.
That is
Completely
indeed-
eliminate one threat rather than sit there and let it fester. And then focus on the other.
that is definitely something to consider in the way of where our priorities lie. Yes. I look over at the others. Renji really feels out of his depth here, where he is
Max is
basically
just trying.
having to take the responsibility of, like, his father.
Max is just trying to give normal advice because he
Yeah.
doesn't know what advice for royalty would be.
Did we have a direct connection to Nihilus?
Nope.
You did, but it's gone now.
The direct connection that you had to Nihilus is now your direct connection to Hikan.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Speaking
Ooh.
of, Mara will simply say, "We have time. There's going to be a few hours before the other convoy turns up at the very least, and even then we don't have to go immediately. My suggestion might be if we can get in touch with Hikan and see if he cannot connect us with Impa or someone else who's more of a confidant in this scenario and get some advice that way."
That would be wise, yes. I think I need to draft a sending.
They're walkie-talkies.
Yeah, in this universe, they're just walkie-talkies.
Okay, then I will take the sending stone and I will call up. I will call on my friend.
Oh, what time of day is it?
It's about early afternoon.
Early afternoon. Okay. Give me just a moment. I apologize. I was not expecting to be called.
That's okay. I truly appreciate your dedication to having like what Hikan would do during the day. I actually really love that.
It is very good.
Okay, so at dawn. Okay. All right. So yeah, you get a hold of Hikan. It's much of a faster call at the moment, or faster things to it, as his hands probably are a little bit less full. But if it is truly like a walkie-talkie or a cell phone, there is a little bit of an echo of like stone walls of where Hikan is currently at. But yeah, he goes, "Oh, what's up?"
Fun, good to hear from you. Can you get to Impa quickly?
Is Impa supervising the visits with Maximus from psychologists or from like counselors and stuff like that?
On occasion, she trades places with Alea, Maris's bodyguard, every so often, so that they can both keep an eye on their charges. But otherwise,
Who would be there today?
yes, she would be there today.
Yeah, she's right here.
Takes out, goes, "Hello.
Impa, good to hear from you as well.
Oh, Renji, good to hear from you too."
There is something that requires your wisdom.
Okay.
Artie, remind me, how much did we mention previously to Impa about having found a certain princess?
The last time you
think you
spoke to
have.
Impa was when you were in Goron City using that weird ass machine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think we've said anything about finding her yet.
I don't think
No.
he even said anything to Hikan, because it was just like, Hikan, hey, could you go grab this? And Hikan's like, yeah, sure, why not?
That's true. Feeling a little guilty about this, Renji will say, "We have good news."
Oh,
Again, there is a caveat, but then again, there always is.
I see.
We have found in healthy and in lucid condition my father's charge.
Hikan, on the other side of like on your end, not hearing the first half of the conversation, all you've heard is "Good to hear from you." Okay, and then Impa's features just change from this kind of casual observation of Maximus to wide-eyed sort of. I'm going to ask you to repeat that one last time.
Hikan looks around as if there's like about an attack to happen.
We have found in healthy and lucid condition my father's charge.
Okay.
She is here if you wish to converse with her.
That would put my mind at ease. Yes, please.
I am sorry for doing this to you, Artie, but you get to talk to yourself.
That's okay. I have the power of just being descriptive and not having a conversation.
That's true.
But you hand your stone over to Sophitia, who kind of examines it briefly and then like talks into it, like trying to follow what you've just been doing. You basically, on your end, you see Sophitia struggling, but like it's a bit more. Please slow down, please. Meanwhile, on Impa's end, she's like, "You're coming back to the castle right now. We're getting Nihilus. You're coming back to the castle. You're going to be safe here. That's an order." Sort of, like really frustrated, sort of. Friggin' not expecting this to happen, sort of we need to do this now sort of deal. It's a very two-sided thing.
Lady Impa, it's only been like 5 days, he's still recovering.
When I see Sophitia struggling with this, I will like hold my hand out so that I can take the sending stone from her. I will not take it from her, I will offer to take it.
Sophitia will just kind of like, she's not like super duper flustered, she's just kind of just trying to get a word in edgewise and it's not working. I'm just going to pass you, I'm just going to give you to Renji, okay, bye, and it's just hands you this actually the thing is, and meanwhile it's like Sophitia hello Renji.
Hello Impa, I'm glad that you've calmed down a little bit.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, but go on.
Very well. The reason I bring this up now is because we are trying to decide what to do.
If anything is not bring her back to the castle, it's the wrong damn answer.
And I suggested sneaking her in.
The reason why we are discussing this rather than doing exactly as you say immediately is because we are trying to figure out the how of that. Because, as I've discussed with her being in the castle openly might invite retaliation. Currently, you are one of a select few people that know of her freedom and condition. I worry that, well, we worry that her being out in the open will put her in more danger than she currently is. And by that I mean she is outside of the castle and there's, well, the Hyrule settlement, while relatively peaceful, has had some parasitic incursion, and the Mazro village seems to be overtaken by the Sovereign Hand, so there is that.
Okay. All right.
I will interrupt since Kai is on Renji's end and go, well, can't your buddy just open a tree? Because you could watch that.
With that, like I nod to Kai, kind of hold my hand over the stone, and say, yes. It's not so much the journey as it is the reaching the destination and what happens next that we have to discuss.
Gotcha. I just thought that you meant like going through Mazro might be difficult. My bad. Sorry. Didn't mean to
We're
interrupt.
not going through Mazro. It's more what happens if Mazro goes through here.
Gotcha. Sorry.
All right. I understand what you are saying, though that does not exactly reduce the urgency by which we need to have Lady Sophitia back in the castle as soon as possible. But I do understand the conundrum that you are currently sitting in. Remind me, judging by the fact that Maximus is here and is currently doing rather well with his treatment, does that necessarily mean that his previous... Does that mean that the one in the tower is dead, for certain?
As
Hikan has told me as much detail as possible, but I just want to be absolutely certain.
Yeah, we burned his body.
there is no doubt in my mind that we apprehended and yes, we killed him.
Okay. So that is taking care of one of the two surviving assaulters that had tried their best to wipe out the entire royal family. The ones who went after Rufus and Marius are both dead or captured.
Yes.
That leaves the one who killed the king. Where is this other one?
As far as we can tell, still within the rebelling villages. I did not receive any other news.
Okay. All right.
That is the Summerborn twins, correct? Or are they not twins?
Yeah. So okay. Delilah is the one who killed the king. Cassandra is a sister who conspired with the cartel. Impa will just kind of like consider the options briefly and say, all right. Okay, I can understand, and it would not be wise to immediately make public Sophitia's return, at least prior to us sorting out the rest of this. And if we are wanting this to Maximus's treatment to be successful, if we make it public that Sophitia is back in the castle, then Zelish may be prompted to leave his home.
There is also that, yes.
Okay, alright. Here's what we're gonna do then. If you can sneak Sophitia back into the castle, we will make sure that there is a tight-knit circle of information that does not allow anyone outside the castle walls to know that the princess is back within her home. I'll make sure that Marius and Rufus are also apprised of this situation, and they have to keep it very secret.
Regarding Maximus and his disguise, is that still in place? Or is that not necessary at this current time?
It's not necessary at the moment. I feel
in that case, what might be possible is for us to coordinate an arrival and have the ear cuff with you at the handoff.
All right. Okay. That's certainly possible. We're going to need to keep this coordinated and tight. I'm afraid that we won't be able to tell, just in case, because I know that Nihilus is currently convalescing at Kakariko Village at the moment. I don't know if we can tell him that Sophitia is okay. At least not yet, because he is currently physically too close to Zalish.
I understand.
If any other situation permits it, we will tell him. It is only right that he knows that his charge is okay. But
I understand. I share that.
all right, okay. We're
There is
just gonna
another. There is another matter that I would like to discuss with you. And I turn to my party members and I say, sorry, this is a private matter for just a moment. And I will kind of move out of earshot.
Okay. All right.
Impa, there is a possibility where I am able to get out of the that I've bound myself with.
I see.
However, I do not know what it exactly entails. And it is possible that it will make me significantly less effective as a agent of the crown.
All right. I can understand the problem that might create. However,
So
you are still
my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is, should I pursue that at this moment, or should I remain with the Storm's Eye and see to our current objectives first?
My question to you is this. How much pain is this deal that you have putting you through?
Physically, it's not pleasant to deal with an incursion in my mind whenever he wishes to converse. But it's mostly the guilt I feel towards my father, and especially to Zelish.
Okay. I don't know what will happen in the days to come. As part of your task force situation, all of you are responsible for dealing with the current situation that has come about because of the actions of the Twilight Cartel. That includes whatever's happening with this death cult, and that includes finding the assassin, if possible. However, in those situations, it would be best if you were to have as clear a mind as possible. So if you really want to be out of this contract, then I would highly recommend that you pursue that. As for whether or not it will make you less effective, you don't need to worry. You have a lot of other skills besides whatever this thing is giving you, and we can figure something out afterwards.
Have you been talking to Kai?
Who's Kai?
Thank you.
Oh, you mean the
best response.
Goron that... Oh, no, I haven't.
He said something similar. It is something to consider. I think I can shoulder this for a little while longer, I think.
Okay. Well, my question is this: what is your? Never mind. If you are intending on sticking with the with your benefactor, as much as we can call it that, for a little while longer, I want you to, while we sort things out over here to prepare for the princess's arrival, I want you to honestly sit down with your companions and discuss what it is you need to do, what it is that you are going to do. Because if there is nothing else, if you intend on keeping with this path, if you intend on staying with this benefactor for a little while longer, then we need to discuss what it is that you're going to be doing next. If that requires you to come back to the castle so we can have a talk with Marius and Rufus and have a proper task force meeting, then we can do that. But for now, just take your companions aside and discuss with them what you want to do. If they know about this, I don't know if they know about this, but if they do, maybe discuss with them what they think would be a good idea. They are your friends, after all. And they may know you better in some ways than you do, okay?
I understand.
Okay. I need to make sure I'm paying attention to Maximus's therapy. Did you need to... You know what, I will. And she will she will kind of emerge from from wherever private spot she was during that aspect of the conversation and pass the stone back to Hikan and say to him, if there's anything you want to say before the call's over, we've discussed everything we need to.
Okay, thanks. Then I'll grab the sending stone. So, what's up?
Some stuff. Possibly the end of my pact with the Harvester might be a possibility. So there is that, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
You got that right.
Well, I think that you do lots of stuff on your own. Because, like, yeah, there's the whole magical things that you do, but I don't really think you use magic to talk to people. Except for this, but this isn't your Never mind. But, like, you don't use it to get people to listen to you. You do that on your own. And I know you like to read, and I know Mara likes to read, and I know Mara's done stuff that's helped us out with what she's read. And I know that there's all sorts of other types of things that are out there, if that's really what you were seeking. But if you wanted to do something on your own for a while, I think that you could do that. I
appreciate
mean,
your...
I could go see if somebody knows where, like, Show's old notes are or something.
That'd be a great help. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool.
I think if I were to go and break the contracts, I would like you to be there.
Well, as long as everything here is good and I don't need to be here anymore, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. Are you guys planning on coming back today? Because if so, I've got shopping I need to go do.
I think I think I'll have to get back to the group and have that discuss that with Impa and with her.
Okay. Awesome. I've got other things that I need to do. So, at some point, so I will leave the stone with Impa for now. And that way you guys can coordinate what you guys need to coordinate. And I'll go take care of the things that I need to do.
All right. It's good to talk to you again.
It's
And
good
I
to talk
think
to you too.
I'll leave my private conversation and head back to the group and apologize for the time.
Now recording.
There we go. Managed to catch it this time. I'm on to you, Craig.
Oh dear. Darn it, Craig.
Max just looks up from his book and is like, "It's okay."
So, I look over to the princess and I will say, holding out the stone, we've, as you heard, discussed some things about your return.
Mhm.
We will be able to handle a disguise for you. We just need to figure out when and where we will be bringing you back.
I see. Very well.
And I understand that this is not exactly as you wish it,
That's fine.
but it is for your safety.
I understand this, yes. Hopefully, when all of this calms down, and I hope that is the day in which I am still alive for it, I will be able to more willingly leave the castle grounds and be a bit more proactive. But for now, I can understand the situation that has occurred. Yes. But, yes. As mentioned before, when the rest of the convoy arrives and are able to tend to matters here, I will no longer be responsible for taking care of this area. At least I will not feel as responsible, and I will be more than capable of returning to the castle whenever you so need me to.
I think it would be best if we were to discuss the particulars of your return journey, and I will also specifically try and loop Zayden in, as he will be most likely facilitating this.
I don't know, come over.
So, how do you want to handle this, dear group? How do you want to take care of this? What is the plan?
Delicately.
Oh
Sorry.
yes, exactly.
It may also be worth considering what you want to do outside of this as well, like what your next course of action is, because I imagine that if you need to head back to Castletown altogether, or if you only need to send Sophitia to the castle and then bring one thing back, then that's also an option.
So we had an idea, or at least Nether and I had an idea yesterday when we were talking about it because it came up in conversation. If y'all want Hikan to come back, which is perfectly fine, you could, I don't know who all needs to make a stop in Castletown, but that can be done. Something that we were sitting there thinking about was returning the princess, and then, if we can, addressing the ziggurat before going after Delilah and Cassandra, because that will at least cut down on some of Delilah's power.
I thought that was what we were doing anyway.
Was it? I don't remember when we talked about it.
I just thought that we would end up doing that anyway.
Hmm.
Is what I meant.
Yeah, it really depends if we want to go after the Sovereign Hand and the Summerborns.
Well,
So-
Sovereign
First.
Hand are currently here. At least some of them are.
Mm-hmm.
And the Summerborns are all the way over here. Somewhere.
Yes, the other side of the country. Yes,
And the Ziggurat is down here.
So-
relatively closer. Yes.
As a summation of your 3 currently known threats, you have the Sovereign Hand, which have thus far taken over Mazro, but they have also, or at least as far as Marchul tells you,
They are at other places as well.
They are basically all over the country, in little pockets and stuff. Because it's a pervasive death cult.
there's a major chunk of them there.
Yeah, there is a known quantity there of a worrying size.
Do you mind if I draw on the map a little bit there, Artie?
Go for
And
it.
then we can take. Cool. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
We drew the arrows on that.
Yeah. So you have the Sovereign. Actually, there's 4 technically known things to deal with. So you've got
Surprise.
Mazro, you've got, and then over on the west side of Hyrule, which is essentially, if I was to get this here, if I was to go this, it's essentially all of this area. That potential area is where Cassandra and Delilah Summerborn may be. Probably not in King's Ward or Rudel because they are loyal villages, and Vestal and Midos are the rebelling ones, or at least the ones still in a state of rebellion. In addition, you have the Ziggurat, which is the only known connection that you have in order to potentially sever your connection to the Harvester, which will directly affect Delilah Summerborn. And there is, of course, the other potential loose end that you have encountered before, which is Gorspire, who, as far as you remember, is somewhere in the south of Hyrule, but that was ages ago. He might have moved.
Yeah, that's Hikan's thing, though. So Hikan's
Yeah.
got to be there for that no matter what.
Yeah.
Would make for an interesting session. We're like, hey, Kern, you're back. By the way, we got this thing you wanted.
we took care of your plot for you. You're welcome. Nah.
This is
Um,
Just walk in, chuck you the thing, it explodes.
Oh no!
Oh, that's the Ether Medallion. The Bombos Medallion's the one that explodes.
I don't know what the Ether Medallion does.
Causes lightning storms.
Okay, it could still explode then. In lightning. I have been known to do that on occasion.
That is fair. So here's the way that I'm thinking about it. We can deal with the stuff in Mazro. That the thing about the stuff in Mazro is it is a step. We have 2 places that we know where the Summerborns could be,
Mhm.
which we'd have to go down and deal with the Ziggurat first. So the fastest way would be going down, or grabbing Hikan, going down to the Ziggurat, dealing with the stuff at the Ziggurat, and then taking a tree to Rudal Village, because we went through Rudal, I believe, or King's Ward, and then heading westward to go deal with the Summerborns as possible.
I wouldn't mind
The
a
thing
trip.
with Mazro is, in order to defeat the Sovereign Hand, we have to find the Arbiter.
Mhm.
I was kind of hoping you'd just be there.
I mean, I'm willing to beat up a dude in plate armor as much as the next guy, but it's just that we don't know where he is, because we know the people came from Green Hills into Castletown before we left to Death Mountain. So if he started in Mazro, we didn't see anything at the ranch, he could have been in Riggensted or Drumnag by now. Or elsewhere.
But we can still go there and find out.
Sure.
But what I have in mind is quick jaunt to Hyrule Castle town to hand over the princess. Maybe possibly stock up on things. Go either through, like, just traveling to Mazro, or traveling through Hylia settlements to Mazro, and then to the ziggurat? Or do you want to go Hyrule Castle Town, Echo of Hylia, ziggurat, back through Mazro?
Well, Lars doesn't have anything to do in Castletown, so
I think the only thing to do in Castletown is trade princess for monk.
yes. That's what a princess is worth these days, huh?
A good friend, yes.
Yes.
Trade a queen for a bishop?
Weirdest match of chess I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, there's monks and princesses and warlocks.
All I'm saying is a queen can't move like a knight, so
Yeah, that's true.
But, okay. So we do want to take a look at Mazro. Do you want to look at Mazro before going to Castletown or after going to Castletown?
Let's say after.
Okay. So it looks like the thing is wait for the convoy, go to Castletown,
Mm-hmm.
come back, look at Mazro, then hit up the ziggurat, and go find the Summerborns.
Yep.
And hopefully run into Gorspire along the way.
Okay.
alternatively we could have Sidon
Someone
do his
scry.
magic tree thing to get the princess to the castle and Hikan here.
Okay.
Does that go both ways?
That is an option that is possible.
Mechanically, no, it does not. Unless Artie says yes.
I'm just saying that is possible if none of the rest of us have anything to do in the castle town. I don't know who has what to do. So you can take
rules
a
is
person with
written.
them.
You need to use 2 spells to move back and forth.
It'd be 2 days or a long
It'd be
rest.
2 days. Yeah,
3
I
days
would
to learn how to have
personally.
it prepared.
I wouldn't mind.
But if you don't have it prepared, then we may as well just do the other thing and probably be faster.
I wouldn't mind a quick stop at Uriel and see what he has on offer.
Had a different fast movement option.
Okay. Windwalk. Okay.
Okay. Let me take a look at this.
300 feet.
We would travel 5 times as fast. No, sorry, 10 times as fast.
And okay.
I'd have more than 10 because you'd be flying as well.
And it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't have to run into people.
Let me just double. Yeah, no, we'd be able to do that because we made it to Kakariko today. We could fly over Mazro as clouds.
Do a bit of
Best way to
perception.
subtly check on the area.
Yeah.
What's that in the sky? Oh, the cloud.
Mass is gonna have a moment with this one.
Why are the clouds watching us so intently?
It would take you as the crow flies. It would take you roughly just under 2 hours to get from his Hylia settlement to Hyrule Castle Town if you were to use Windwalk.
So yeah, if we wait for the main carriages to arrive, so that Savedia can do her stuff, and then cast that and just fly there.
We would still probably need 2 casting of Windwalk to go from Hylia across Mazro to Hyrule Castle Town and then to the ziggurat.
Yeah, but we can take a long rest while we're in Castletown.
Yep, that's fair.
Do we need to put the princess in the carriage, or can she just not fly with us?
You could fly with us. There's 10 people.
Yeah. She's waiting for the convoy to turn up so that she can hand over responsibilities to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
She
and
just-
tell give them a rundown of what's going on.
So we wait for the convoy, we fly over Mazra to see what's going on, we deposit one princess in one castle.
Get
And
a
then-
monk, do some shopping.
So if we're picking up the
That way,
monk,
we do know that the princess is in the right castle.
we are picking up the monk, what do we do about our friendly Kai?
I can
What does
take care of
I's turn
himself.
to.
What does he want to do?
I's turn to.
It's like, what does
Gormfend.
what does Kai want to do?
Yeah. Do we give?
He was asked to look after us while Hikan was gone, so
mhm.
Yeah.
it's up to
That
him.
means
what
he's
he-
going with you to Castletown until Hikan's back.
Okay.
After that point, though, he can make his own way back to Death Mountain.
Or do we
So-
give Alvrins 2 characters to play for a while?
So Zidane
I can do that.
Look to Kai and ask him, how do you feel about flying?
I'm a rock. I've never flown in my life.
You'll have a
What
great
if
time, I'm
you
sure.
weren't a rock?
I can't do what he does. He kind of just gestures at Sidon.
Yes, you can, with my
Well,
help.
he can do.
We haven't seen him
Thanks to
use
you.
Windwalk.
We haven't seen him use Windwalk.
Max looks a little like Max has his usual level of concern whenever anyone suggests using magic on him.
Mm.
Well, if we're not going to sit there and do it, I will be the first. If you want to do something new, I'll be perfectly fine doing it. I suppose.
I
long
mean,
till the
Sidon
convoy
hasn't
gets
steered
here?
us wrong.
How long till the convoy arrives?
It will still be a couple of hours, so you can always just kind of
Is
Like-
it long rest couple of hours?
no.
Okay.
It's like 2 at most.
Okay.
How long?
Oh yeah, I do have all my spells, so yeah, I don't need a long rest.
Neither do I.
Yeah. Okay. So you
If that's
you
the
wait
plan.
for the convoy to arrive, and thankfully in that intervening time, nothing major happens. It seems nice and calm within the Hyrule settlement, and soon enough you can see a procession of heavy carriages being pulled by many horses, escorted by guards who are wearing the garb of Hyrule Castle town. As is pulled into town, a bunch of the medics kind of leave their posts in order to go over and help tend to things. Sophitia goes over to whoever's leading the congregation, and quietly discusses with them everything that's currently transpired, hands them notes, kind of indicates a couple of buildings, like all the different things that need to happen. After roughly 5 minutes, she comes back and says, "Well, I suppose that's it. They will be able to handle everything else from here. I don't know how long they will be here for in order to provide that aid, but they are going to make sure they are not going to go anywhere until things are back to normal, so to speak."
Alright.
Well, we have our way to get you to Castletown,
Okay.
and I think before we fly, we will discuss with Impa where we set down, so that we are expected. And she
Yeah,
can make her
it'd be kind of
preparations.
funny if a bunch of clouds flew into the throne room and just suddenly turned into people. I doubt they'd like that.
I doubt that would be acceptable.
By
I
the way,
also
we
don't
found another
think.
core on your security.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need to protect yourself from clouds now.
I mean they do. They have to, absolutely. But yeah, I think as far as I can tell, we have. Sorry. We have set up our preparations.
Okay. Well, I shall I'll leave the rest to you.
One more question, by the way, Artie.
Mm-hmm.
In gaseous cloud form,
Yeah.
it says the only actions a creature can take in this form are the dash action or to revert to its normal form. How does perception work?
Perception's not an action.
Outside of combat, it's not an action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a yeah. You should be fine.
Isn't your passive like 22 or something?
My passive perception. Let me see.
20.
Yeah, passive perception is 20.
Expertise.
Hehehe.
Yeah,
I suppose
so
you basically base it on like
It'll be
an air
22
elemental.
next level.
shush.
You based it just like on an air elemental. They have dark vision to 60 feet, so you probably just have some form of sight.
Well, we all have dark vision anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I don't know if rocks have dark vision.
Oh, my passive
You all live in
persuasion
caves,
and
so-
deception will be 25 next level.
I get 25 intimidate.
Nice.
I get to be even more generally scary.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's about it. So I think we transform and go? Question mark.
I think we transfer and go! Exclamation point.
Okay.
I'll
Alright.
look around everyone, make sure they're ready for this, and begin the 1 minute casting time.
This is just
Yeah.
bracing for impact.
There was after a minute there's a rush of air and each and every one of you transforms into an indistinct wispy cloud. It is a remarkable sight for the people who are in the town who have not really seen much magic themselves. They don't scream in terror and run away or anything because they're
Like,
they're
what
not
the fuck?
entirely ignorant of magic. Yeah, it's just a case of like the fuck.
There's a lot just dissolved.
Yeah.
Why are they clouds now?
Unfortunately, not remaining long to answer the question. You ascend skywards and begin to follow the road along the way to Hyrule Castle town. It takes you minutes to get from Hylia settlement to above Mazro. What you can see, based off of your passive perceptions at the very least, is, I want to say, alarming. Not necessarily in the sense that it's that it looks like a standard sort of stereotypical death cult sort of. There's just spikes everywhere, and it's
Okay.
like it's not something video gamey in the sense of
It's not Mad Max.
it's not Mad
Okay.
Max. At a first glance, Mazro seems to be your standard walled village. It's just, it is a fairly sizable area surrounded by a wooden wall with a variety of buildings and a church and an inn and all that kind of stuff that you can see rather clearly. The things that stand out to you the most with your base passive perception would be that one, every single person in the village is wearing a robe with the emblem of the sovereign hand on it. Two, there's some damage to the church to indicate that some of the religious symbols that were once adorned there have been removed. There they haven't been replaced by sovereign hand symbols, they've just been removed. So it might just be that they've tried to make the place a more non-denominational place of worship than anything else. 3, there's a collection of these spire sort of things that, like these small little obelisks that are on the external area of the wall all around the town. Just these small stone spires, roughly about 5 feet in height, placed every so often around the outside of the wall. But otherwise, you don't see much else. You do note that in the very center of town, there appears to be some scaffolding surrounding something rather tall. Looks like they're building some kind of statue. But otherwise, yeah. There's...
They're wearing robes. Do these robes also cover the faces?
No. Interestingly enough, they don't have the hoods of the robes up. They have them down.
Okay.
And they're like... People are chatting as if it's completely normal attire.
Okay. Do we see any people that look particularly undead?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. One moment. 19.
19 there.
Slightly worse than my passive.
You don't seem to see anyone that would be, obviously undead.
Okay.
Everyone there seems relatively healthy by comparison.
Relatively healthy?
Yeah, they don't look like they're decaying in any shape or form. A couple of people might be a bit pale, but you think that just might be their natural complexion. There's no indication that anyone looks drastically ill or disfigured or anything that you would expect from what you've encountered with the undead thus far.
Okay. And is there any sign of Goma infections?
You do note that a couple of the buildings in town have the same infected marking on the door that the Hyrule settlement did, but not in such a vast quantity. Maybe 3 or 4 of them at most, from what you can see, appear to have that marking on the door.
I see. Okay.
I'd like to swing by the obelisk and statue and take a closer look at those as a cloud.
Okay. So you descend downwards in order to take a look at the obelisks and statues and stuff. So the obelisks themselves, you can see quite clearly, are what's the word? They look like a standard pointed stone, roughly 5 foot in height, slightly wider at the base. There are some markings on it that I would require an Arcana check in order to decipher.
I was also gonna go down and look.
I was gonna say, could I make a memorization check instead so I could write them out for people who have higher Arcana than I do?
Sure, that would be a general
I
intelligence.
was also gonna go down and have a look.
Okay, in that case, you can do Arcana if you want to.
And I do Arcana. 19.
You can do an Arcana.
15 for memorizing symbols.
Okay, so Kai, you're able to memorize the symbols as best you can. You think you've got them down. Max, you are able to discern. It's not like any other kind of magic writing that you may have encountered before. It certainly doesn't look like Torquin's writing. Or like the way Torquin would describe spells, or Flamgo, or any other spellcaster you've encountered. But you gather that they are there as a part of an abjuration spell. Then you don't know whether or not it's active at the moment, but you can discern that it might just be an abjuration type of magic.
No.
As for the statue, it looks half completed, but the way that it is structured at the moment, you can tell that the lower half appears to be something of a humanoid figure The way that the legs are structured and the fact that there is a tail, you can only assume that it might be the statue of a Lizalfoss.
I figured.
In armor?
It does look like the legs are fairly well armored, yes.
Interesting.
Awesome. Anything else you want to try and inspect while you are around Mazro?
Any particular armaments or fortifications?
The wooden wall that is around the town appears to be a standard wooden wall. It is about 7 foot thick. It has a platform on the top of it behind the palisade that allows a guard or two to wander about, which some of them are. Said guards also like more well armored than others, like they're wearing a standard set of chainmail, possibly under more than likely underneath their robes. They're armed with spears and bows. There doesn't look to be anything that would say that these people are incredibly well armed. Like, it doesn't look like they're preparing for war or anything like that. They honestly seem like, besides the robes, they seem, actually, come to think of it, they seem a little less prepared for an attack. There aren't as many guards on the walls that you would have expected, compared to other villages that you have seen thus far. They don't seem to be of a mind to be as protected as possible, and that's weird. Like, you can see, you can even tell with a quick glance around that most of the people here seem to be rather happy. Like, not in the sense of like they're giddy or anything. It's just that they're alright. They're having an okay day. They're just going about their business, and nothing seems to be getting in the way of that.
Out of curiosity, just as we're doing kind of a general check for it with people's passive perceptions, all Hylians?
The vast majority, yes. There's a couple there that look to be... You can count at least 1 or 2 Deku scrubs, who are also all in the robes, but and I think there's 1 Zora there, but otherwise, the vast majority are Hylian.
Okay. I'm just gonna be like, maybe there's Blins here and we could just get 2 birds with 1 stone. Alright. Cool. That's all that I've got about Mazro.
Okay. Alright. So, with investigation thus far complete, you rejoin the other clouds. Mara, you can tell Mara and Sophiti's clouds have remained fairly distant away from Mazro, just in case. But you rejoin everybody and you continue on your path along Hyrule Castle town. It's a bizarre sensation, possibly for some of you to be traveling at this speed.
Max has been swooping around all over the place. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
he could get used to this whole flying thing, which will come up later.
Hey.
But yeah.
Character development.
Granted your first taste, the addiction begins.
Yeah.
I think Renji will also do a little bit of some rolls and loops and stuff. Did we plan any particular place to land? Because
probably...
I'm thinking somewhere in the castle gardens.
Yeah, you probably conferred with Impa that you were going to be arriving in the castle courtyard.
Somewhere in the hedges.
Yeah.
So it's less visible.
Oh, we're going about 110 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
110. Or okay, yeah. So we get to Masro, and then that's a little more than an hour.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's 60
Yeah.
miles an hour, 68 miles an hour,
Yeah.
110 kilometers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you
Sorry, whenever anyone says anything about going fast, I have to make Neum noises.
Neum.
Neum.
But yeah, and you get to have this incredible view of the landscape around you. You can see the rolling hills of the Hyrule fields and the spots and bits of different forests and everything. You can see Lon Lon Ranch and Rigenstead coming up around the massive metropolis of Hyrule Castle town. Like it makes this weird kind of juxtaposition of knowing how big Hyrule Castle town is and seeing it up here. It looks so very small. But you land, or you make your way over to Hyrule Castle at the Hyrule Castle. You can see the courtyard down below. You can see Impa flanked by a pair of guards. You can see hiding in the gazebo nearby. You can see Rufus and Marius while Alea stands next to the gazebo. And you touch down and apparate in front of everybody. And there's just this tense moment where you kind of look around you and you can see like the guards.
Max takes slightly longer than everyone else to head back from Cloud.
You can see the guards. They haven't like leveled their spears at you, but they're just kind of standing tense and prepared.
Yeah.
And eventually, like Impa takes a couple of steps forward, and says, "Welcome back."
Good to be back. I'm just keeping an eye on to see if the ear cuff is ready.
She kind of like holds up the ear cuff.
And when Sophitia reappears, I will hand it to her.
Okay. Sophitia reappears and just kind of like holds on to it for a moment. As she does so, there is not much decorum to be had from the king and the young prince. They kind of like make a break for it out of the gazebo. Alea just kind of very quickly sort of like runs, trudges over briskly after them. Marius just runs up and hugs his sister, and doesn't really say anything. Rufus kind of just like stands off to the side and rubs his arm rather awkwardly. And as they share that moment, Impa kind of like nods to Alea, who kind of nods back, and Impa turns to whoever is in the courtyard and says, "As a reminder, this is not to be made known to the public. Anyone who is not currently present here at this moment in time is not to know that this is transpiring. Am I understood?" And there is a kind of a somewhat unified "yes, mom" sort of thing that comes from around the remaining guards. And Marius just kind of like breaks a hug a bit and starts kind of rambling at Sophitia, just like being thankful that she's okay. Sophitia looks down to Rufus, who just kind of like gives something of a sort of sheepish nod and says, "I'm glad that you're back." And Sophitia's like, "I'm glad that I'm back too. It's been a troubling moment." Yes. And Alea kind of silently stomps over, taps the king on the shoulder, and gives a jerk of the head. And Marius says, "Yes, right, of course. come on inside, out of the way of potential looky-loos. And
when you were having Impy saying, "Reminder, this didn't happen," I was like thinking, "Wow, she's that against him hugging his sister." Okay.
It's a.
I didn't know that royalty had such strict things, but okay.
It's mostly just like, remember, this one right here, she's not here. And it's like, okay, great.
If anyone asks.
Yeah. And they're kind of courted back inside into the castle proper. Alea lingers next to the king, and she turns to Impa and does like a few quick hand symbols, at which point Impa nods briefly and turns to the others.
Can I understand what they are doing?
You would know this. Alea is mute by way of a previous battle injury and communicates with sign language.
Did I receive any sign language education?
It's one of your languages, SSL. Sheikah Sign Language.
It is not on my sheet.
Give me a basic intelligence check. It won't be terribly difficult, but it will be just something that is like you might not have received the full training yet to.
Oh, that's a saving throw. Sorry. This one. 5.
It's hard to say what exactly Alea is saying, but you note that possibly it might just be a confirmation of things like just confirming that people are safe. And then Impa turns to the rest of you and says, "Right, well, thank you for delivering the princess back into the castle. Where she's admittedly a lot safer, but again, as
the threats are just different."
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a long journey. I understand from what you have experienced since you left for Death Mountain. So, whatever rest you need, whatever thing you need to resupply on, do that. It's a little late in the day, depending on where you want to go and what you want to do next. So I would suggest maybe taking this evening for a bit of respite, have a good meal, get some good sleep, and then we'll kick whatever plan you have into action tomorrow. In the next couple of hours, I might suggest that you come back to the castle so we can discuss that plan, so you can leave as soon as possible in the early morning. But for now, rest, relax. You probably need it.
I think Renji is still going to take a few hours to copy all of his notes so that he can give a full account of the goings-on to Impa.
Mm-hmm.
How late is it?
Well, it was early afternoon when you made the plan to get Sophia back to the castle, so it's about mid-afternoon now-ish. Yeah, about that. So
Okay.
it'll be like a couple of hours before sunset.
Okay. Sidon wants to go to Uriel's then.
Okay.
If Zidon makes that known, I would join him as well.
Okay.
Sure.
Next, we'll go fetch Hikan so that we can all be there together.
Yeah.
And meet up there.
Okay. If that is the case, what we'll do is we'll take care of that next session, because we're coming to the end of this one. And yeah. So, thank you everybody so much for watching and listening. I'm Articulate T. This has been episode 94 of Hyrule Chronicles. With me as always, I have had Renji Vox, being played by the lad.
It's me.
I have had Kaikuana and Hikan Sio, being played by Avrdal.
And now we switch back. Yay!
Yeah. I have had Zayden Shari, being played by Robopire. It was awfully quiet.
Oh no.
No, they said goodbye.
Okay,
Oh,
there you
All
go.
picked up.
And we've had Max, being played by Kishtrith.
I've been counting down the days until Max gets wings since I joined this game.
2 more levels.
Yeah.
I was thinking that Biden probably has enough passive insight to just kind of mention to Max, I'll keep that prepared.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye bye now.
Bye.